In 2018, Jagex shut down RuneScape Classic forever, but the reason they gave wasn't the truth. For years, the real cause of its closure remained a mystery. Today, we're uncovering the scandals that pushed Classic to its breaking point, reliving the game's final moments, and revealing the disheartening secret that Jagex didn't want you to know. RuneScape Classic had been in decline for years, but by 2016, the signs became much harder to ignore. If you've seen my other videos about Classic, you'll probably know that by now, the game was overflowing with bots. Out of nearly 400 characters online, only a handful of them were real players. Jagex had stopped enforcing the rules on Classic nearly a decade ago at this point, but something pretty big was about—
Damn, RuneScape Classic even had bots? Shit, I didn't know that. Damn, bro, everybody just fucking bots and cheats on every game, huh? Respect, I'm not gonna lie,
out to make all the bots disappear. This is the Crystal Chest. If you obtained both halves of a crystal key, you could combine them and then use the key on this chest. Upon doing so, you would be guaranteed an uncut Dragonstone, among other random high-value loot. Today, on old school RuneScape, if you use a key on this chest, it opens, you get your loot, and then it closes automatically. It works the same way on Classic, until a player named Crime accidentally discovered a glitch that would leave it stuck open, making it impossible to use. Luckily, it was only stuck on World 1, so you could use it as normal on other worlds, until Crime got mad. Crime was pretty active in the botting scene, and was an active contributor on the APOS forums. APOS was by far the game's largest botting software at the time, and the forums had become a community hub.
Damn, you know what's crazy? I took my fair share in botting. You know, I did Tribot, Power Bot, I did Ranging Guild Bot, you know, to get my range up, but I've never botted back then. That's crazy. I botted when everything was already established.
Was so big, even legitimate players socialized.
I botted when it didn't matter anymore. You know what I mean? Power bot, Tribot. Oh my god. Imagine botting back then. That's crazy. Look, his literally bronze med helm is blending in with the house.
Here. Crime didn't have the best reputation in the community, and eventually he crossed the line, earning him a ban from the forums. Who could have guessed a guy named Crime would end up causing trouble? Upset by this, he would go repeat the crystal chest glitch on every game world, getting them stuck open and unusable for pretty much forever. The only time the crystal chest would reset is if Jagex restarted the game servers, a process that would usually only ever happen for updates, something Classic hadn't received in years at this point. As a result, Dragonstones, which were once very common, would become extremely rare. In Classic, the only consistent way to obtain Dragonstones was by using this chest. Monsters technically dropped them too, but the drop rates compared to the chest made it look like someone at Jagex accidentally set the rarity slider to yes. As a result, all Dragonstone jewelry, particularly the charged Dragonstone amulet, known today as the Amulet of Glory, skyrocketed in price. Crystal keys would also become worthless, but players would hold on to them in hopes of Jagex one day fixing the bug. But the chances of that were extremely low. When Classic players reported the glitch, Mod Balance responded, saying he'd pass the details to Quality Assurance if they explained how it worked. However, he ended his message with this. Honestly though, RuneScape Classic is unsupported, so when it breaks, it breaks. It's old.
Damn, that guy Crime ruined it for everybody. Bro got banned and just took everybody down with him. What a fucking asshole.
Code running in an old environment, and our teams are busy doing other stuff. It sounds like something we'd have to look at getting fixed in someone's own time outside of work. Translation, not gonna happen. Classic players were pretty disheartened by this, but little did they know, things were about to get much, much worse. Before we dive into that mess, let's focus on something that'll keep things looking the star of the sensitive skin. Infused 0.0 free AUs to
shout out to this guy's sponsor, Manscaped, though, you know, out of respect, because we're watching this video. Shout out to my man, Colonello. You know, respect is given here.
APOS website, causing so much disruption that the site's provider eventually refused to continue hosting it. Without a new host, the project's leader, Stormy, was forced to shut the entire thing down. This shutdown had a cascading effect. APOS relied on contacting its website during startup, and without the site, the bot client could no longer load, effectively breaking APOS. In the following days, RuneScape Classic's player count would reach near all-time lows.
Yo, why are the graphics better back then? You know what I mean? Like, damn.
Lows, leaving only genuine players and a few less mainstream bots. It really showed how much of the community was made up of botters. Now, a lot of you watching might assume, hey, this crime guy might be pretty cool. He single-handedly rid Classic of bots. What a hero. But really, it's a lot more complicated than that. Crime didn't take down bots because he cared about preserving the integrity of Classic or helping the legitimate player base. His actions were driven more by personal grudges rather than by any altruistic goals. Crime was a botter himself, after all. Also, let's not overstate Crime's impact. The bots he took down weren't massive bot farms run by shady organizations profiting millions in real money at the expense of the game's integrity. The bots he targeted were hobbyists, players who had a genuine passion for Classic, albeit they played it in a weird way. They approached RuneScape more like an idle game, scripting their way through tasks while keeping a nostalgic connection to the world of Classic. While Crime's action—
That's me. You know, I love RuneScape, but like, am I gonna sit there and train 99 agility for like a month sitting? No, but why can't I just script it and then go be, go multitask elsewhere? Yeah, that's me. I'm a hobblist or whatever the fuck he called me. A hobblinist. Yeah, that's what I would, identify myself as.
Cleared the game of bots, they also demolished the largest active community in Classic, a game already on its last legs. Even given these circumstances, it might be hard to sympathize with botters, especially considering the damage bots have done to old school. But like much of Classic's story, the issue isn't so black and white. In the following months, botters would relocate to a new website and manage to get APOS up and running again, but by then, most casual botters were gone, never to return. Even as botters began returning to their old routines, a new fear emerged, one that none of them saw coming. Something strange was happening to some of the wealthiest botters in the game. They'd set up their bot scripts, leave their computers running, and when they checked back in, their characters would be standing in Lumbridge, stripped of all their gear and items. Now, this wasn't entirely unheard of for wilderness bots, where dying to players or NPCs was—
Look at the dragon! Oh my god, look at the mushroom, the tree, oh shit.
just part of the risk. But these incidents were occurring in completely safe zones, far away from any danger. Even flex bots, whose only purpose was to stand around in Draenor Village flaunting their expensive gear, were falling.
Bro, chat, somebody made a kick account just now, named himself Crime, and now he's impersonating the guy. Look at this. Crime here, what's Gucci? Like, boy, keep that shit hidden. He said, I'm legit Crime, you fuck. Wait, you did follow me April 27th, 2023. I don't believe you. I think you just name changed, though. I don't believe you. My IRL friend just texted me. And if that is you, I will say, though, respect, bro. You're a fucking hero to us all. Nah, I'm joking.
Victim, they were all in an area completely safe from any monsters or players that could kill them. Nobody had any idea what was happening, but it led most players to be much more cautious with their belongings. Many players would take their flex bots offline, and rare discontinued items became an even rarer sight than before.
Can't swim, why is that?
What was really going on, something that the community wouldn't learn until right before the game closed, was that two legitimate players, Pete and Zephyr, had discovered one of the game's most dangerous bugs. In the Underground Pass, there's a black demon named Doomian. Defeating this demon would teleport your character a few squares away to the middle of the platform. Pete and Zephyr discovered a glitch involving the game's player ID system that allowed them to exploit this mechanic and teleport just about anyone in the game to the middle of the platform whenever they killed the demon. They would teleport bots there, wait for the demon to respawn, and kill the bot, then take their items. For months.
What the fuck? Oh my god, look at the yo. You know what this reminds me of? You know when we used to cut fucking willows in Draenor, and then we would hope that like a evil chicken or like an evil spirit would spawn, or like a shade, and then you watch somebody slowly die that's AFK, and then you're just spam clicking under him like, come on, let me get that rune skinny, come on! And then you just never got shit. That's what this is reminding me of, I'm not gonna lie.
months, they carried out this operation undetected, stealing hundreds of rare items and hundreds of millions of GP, runes, and other resources. This glitch, along with the crystal chest bug, were some of the most
Honestly, I missed that. But I'm assuming that the reason why they took that out is because too many people were complaining that they would go AFK and just die. Just log off, little bro.
Significant and concerning issues in Classic, but the game was breaking down in smaller, less obvious ways too. Players could cast the charge spell while standing on top of scenery like ferns, signs, and doors. This would make the object disappear for nearby players until they logged out and logged back in. Players would do this on bank doors, the gates in front of the KBD, and other areas to both confuse other players and break bots. Another glitch has to do with the desert heat mechanic. These days, when you're in the Caribbean desert, you need to bring water skins with you to drink, or else you'll take damage from the heat. This same mechanic also existed in Classic, except sometime after RuneScape 2 launched, it broke and was just never fixed. Jumping ahead to 2018, the RuneScape Classic community found itself in a quite unique and unusual chapter. At peak hours, there were still about 200 characters online, with about 95% of them being bots. The few legitimate players left were either deeply passionate about Classic or had some unfinished business when it came to their account's progress. Occasionally, but very rarely, a completely new player would join too. Now, no matter what type of player they were or how recently they joined, everyone was devastated when Jagex delivered heartbreaking news on May 23, 2018. In just 75 days, RuneScape Classic would be taken offline permanently. To understand why, let's break down Jagex's official reasons for closing.
Am I the only one that didn't know that RuneScape Classic was still around at 2018? I didn't know that. Wow. That's news to me, bro. I know that was 6 years ago, but still.
In Classic. They first explained that their tools were no longer compatible with Classic, meaning no community safety tools and no bot detection tools. As you know, this led to a rampant amount of unpunished rule breaking. However, their biggest concern was the growing risk of unrecoverable game-breaking bugs, which, as you also now know, the game had plenty of. What Jagex was saying wasn't wrong. Bots were running rampant and—
Well, Oda, I really am crime. Look, let me see. What are you linking? See? Bro linked me all his bugs that he was doing. Oh no. Godly Dwarf, Crime Zammy. What the hell? Oh my god, I could farm a YouTube video out of this. Talking to the person that broke RuneScape 3. Wait, Crime, you have to get in a Discord call with me. Exchange a few words, right? And then I just like go back to RuneScape. I mean, sorry, not RuneScape 3, RuneScape Classic.
Game-breaking bugs had been—
I'm not gonna lie, you're a dickhead though, Crime. You're literally a dickhead. Like, they banned you because you were being a retard. And then you went out of your way and inted everybody, glitched all the chests on every single world, and we're just trying to ruin it for everybody else. Like, you're his asshole. Why is my whole chat spamming W Crime? What's going on here, guys? Why are you guys all supporting him? He just wants to watch the world burn. Oh, I know, right, Skilly? What is that?
Discovered and abused. But despite this, the community didn't believe them. They had a different explanation as to why Jagex was closing the game. Many players believed that the decision all came down to saving money. RuneScape Classic really wasn't a big winner for Jagex at all. At most, it was generating a few $1,000s a month for the company, pennies when compared to the tens of millions of dollars that Old School and RuneScape 3 generated that same year. The cost to fix any issues with Classic would likely far outweigh any profit the game was generating. Classic also wasn't the only Jagex game that was shutting down soon. A few weeks before Classic's closure was announced, Jagex also revealed they'd be shutting down FunOrb, their mini-clip-esque Java game site, and RuneScape Chronicles, a Hearthstone-esque RuneScape-themed card game. Oh, and just a month earlier, they announced the closure of another game, Ace of Spades, a Minecraft-esque, well, let's be honest, it was just Minecraft with guns. For some reason, Jagex was purging all their low-performing games. Players assumed it was just a cost-saving measure, ditching the titles nobody really cared about anymore, and they were sort of right, but as it turns out, the real reason would take a little while longer to come to light. Regardless of what the players believed, the countdown had begun. With only 75 days left to tie up loose ends, the clock was ticking. At first, the online player count held steady every day at around 200, but as weeks went by, it would dwindle lower and lower before eventually reaching double digits in early June. Most of the people playing at this point were players who wanted to get one last look at the game they loved. Old faces would return who hadn't been seen around Classic in sometimes over a decade. Drop parties full of soon-to-be worthless rares and late-game equipment would happen frequently, and large group trips to places like the King Black Dragon and fishing trawler became common. But the most exciting moments happened on the game's final day. Hundreds of players would gather in Draenor to give the game a final send-off. Most of them were there to socialize, a few players were trying to get some last-minute trades done, drop party—
You just know everybody that's playing RuneScape Classic is an old fart, but it's respectable. You know what I mean? Like, definitely geezers.
These were everywhere, and one player even popped open a Christmas cracker for the final time, receiving a yellow party hat. This cracker actually has a
Oda, aren't you an old fart? I am indeed.
really interesting and suspicious backstory. It's a really crazy story. I'm almost certain you haven't heard it, and I've made a video about it that I'll mention at the end. As the final hours ticked away, the scheduled shutdown time finally arrived. But when the clock struck 8 a.m. BST, nothing happened. No shutdown timer appeared, and the game remained online. Confusion spread among the players gathered in Draenor. Some speculated that Jagex had changed their minds, while others joked that they'd simply forgotten to turn off the servers. For half an hour, the uncertainty lingered, with players hoping that perhaps Classic would stay open after all. But then, the shutdown timer suddenly appeared, giving players just 3 final minutes to say their goodbyes. Amid the chaos and cries of Classic players, the countdown reached 0. But yet again, something unexpected happened. The game stayed online. What was going on? Did Jagex not know how to shut off the game? It was that old? It turns out they left it on purpose. A player named Titus Furious had been streaming for about 13 hours at this point, trying to complete the game's hardest quest, Legends Quest. He had gotten extremely close, but was having a problem with the quest's final.
You got me fucked up, bro. You got me fucked up if you think I'm doing Legends Quest when I know the game's closing forever. You got me all the way fucked up. No. He wants to do it before the game permanently closes and he'll never have his account again. No, you got me fucked up. That's crazy. That's crazy. They left it on for him to finish Legends and he was happy?
Final boss.
I would have begged them to turn it off.
It kept disappearing halfway through the fight. Nobody ever figured out why this was happening, but it seemed to be yet another quirk of the game's aging code. Sympathetic to Titus's goal, Jagex decided to leave the servers running until he could finish the quest. Oddly enough, one of the mods watching him do this was named Mod Titus. You have to wonder if Jagex would have kept the servers on for anyone else, or if they just liked his name. Actually, it was Mod Atlas who halted the shutdown, so never mind. Still a funny coincidence though. As news of Titus's stream spread, his journey became significant.
Yo, I just have to ask. I see Mod Aiza here. Aiza was a JMod 6 to 7 years ago? Really? I thought he recently became one in the last 3 to 4 years.
Have to wonder if Jagex would have kept the servers on for anyone else, or if they just liked his name. Actually, it was Mod Atlas who halted the shutdown, so never mind. Still a funny coincidence though. As news of Titus's stream spread, his journey became significantly harder. Players who didn't want Classic to shut down discovered his stream and began trying anything they could to delay the inevitable. Some players begged him to stop, thinking Jagex might leave the servers online indefinitely if he didn't finish the quest, but they were harassing the wrong Titus. Meanwhile, others took stopping him into their own hands. In Classic, an NPC could only talk to one player at a time, so when Titus tried to go to Karamja for part of the quest, a player kept the boat captain busy, so he couldn't talk to him and board the boat. Then, after Titus managed to defeat the demon and went to go claim his Cape of Legends, someone despawned the doors he needed to get through using the charge bug. Luckily for Titus, he figured it out pretty quickly, claimed his cape, and solidified himself as RuneScape Classic's final.
Who was trying to fuck him over, bro? That's crazy.
Legend. Roughly 2 hours after the scheduled shutdown was supposed to happen, the timer started again, and this time, it was for real. When the clock hit 0, the servers were taken offline for good. Now with the game gone forever, players still didn't know the truth behind why it shut down, and wouldn't know for a while. It wasn't to save money on the server costs, the bots, or even the bugs. It was because of the European Union. Back in 2012, the European Union started working on new rules to protect people's personal data. They wanted to give users more control over their information, make privacy rules easier for businesses to follow, and crack down on companies that mishandled data. After years of planning, development, and negotiation, these rules became the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR for short. It's a law that makes companies in the EU, or those dealing with EU users, update their systems to meet strict privacy standards. You've probably felt the impact of GDPR no matter where you live, and you might not even realize it. You know that little message that pops up on just about every website asking if you consent to them storing cookies on your computer? Yeah, you can thank GDPR for that. Yippee! But how does this affect RuneScape Classic? Well, the law was adopted on April 14th, 2016, but enforcement didn't begin until May 25th, 2018. This 2-year gap was meant to give companies time to update their systems and ensure compliance with the new standards. But instead of doing that, Jagex just decided to can their low performers that would need changes. RuneScape Classic, along with other Jagex services I've mentioned, didn't meet the new standards. For a game as old as Classic, these changes just weren't worth the effort.
Man, my boy was picking flax even back then. Did you guys see that?
For a game
Damn, my boy was fucking spitting flax. Look at that.
as old
This guy looks like he got a full inventory. Look at the way he's looking at the machine.
as Classic, these changes just weren't worth the effort from a financial standpoint. Not to mention, you might have noticed that Classic and all those other titles didn't close until after GDPR became enforceable. I have a feeling that these games got such little attention that Jagex genuinely forgot that they would have to update them to meet the new GDPR guidelines.
Order this drama in the chat. I know I was watching it the whole time, but I wanted to address it after this video's done.
Until it was much too late. Nobody outside of Jagex knew that GDPR was actually what killed Classic. At least not until nearly 3 years later when ex-ModMattK revealed during a live stream that it was the true reason behind the shutdown. Ultimately, I think GDPR was just the final nail in the coffin. With all the issues I've mentioned in this video, Classic's shutdown was inevitable. So check out the video on the right about Mod Element when he
All right, that's enough of that.